Hi everyone, it's Lisa Moeller with MedMark and welcome to another very special edition of DocTalk. Special today because we have my very good friend Dr. Justin Moody from the Dental Implant Center joining us all the way from Rapid City, South Dakota. Justin is not only an amazingly talented implantologist, but an educator through the courses he teaches at his seminar series Implant Pathway. He gives tirelessly of his time helping the homeless veterans through the CAS clinic here in Phoenix, runs a highly successful dental podcast called Dentist Implants and Worms, and in his spare time, he just happens to be one of the most genuine people I know, and I'm proud to call him my friend. Welcome, Justin Moody.
Thank you. It's
How
good to
are
be
you?
here.
It's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we're going to talk implants today.
That's all I know.
That's all you know. That's what you're best at, right?
That it probably is.
So tell us how you chose implantology and who were some of your early mentors?
You know, when I got out of dental school, I moved back to my childhood hometown where I grew up. I was a fifth generation to grow up in western Nebraska on this cattle ranch, and I always wanted to come back and do something. I always thought maybe it was going to be ranching and farming, but it turned out that I went to dental school. And when I got back, I didn't want to deal with dentures and partials and stuff all my career, like adjustments and trying to tell people that they really were never going to be able to have something that was a true tooth replacement. So I knew as soon as I got back, I got into dental implants and took every course out there imaginable. I had an unbelievable mentor, Dr. Roger Plooster in Lincoln, Nebraska. He got me excited about it. He convinced me to take these expensive courses, that over time, and when you're a young dentist, man, it seemed like it was so expensive and it wouldn't be worth it, but it was totally the right thing to do. And now I've just been the student of the game. Even though I do teach implant dentistry, like all these big courses I go to, I always want to learn and hear as many people as possible, because you never stop learning at all.
Right. So it was an investment that paid off for you, obviously.
Education is a great investment. It really is. Now that I have a college-age son that is going through, he's not going to be a dentist, he's going to be a civil engineer, but I see how valuable that knowledge is. And even the interaction with people at the collegiate level, it's so important for where he's going to be. And it turned out to be such an asset for myself. All the people that I got to meet over the years of the meetings, and looking forward to these meetings to meet them again, and interact with them. I mean, it's a great way.
Right. You give back a lot with that. I've seen lately. A lot.
It's fun. We've been, I've been very blessed to have a great career in dentistry. Celebrating my 20th year of dentistry this year.
Wow.
So if you could imagine, I'm the social chair for my dental school class, so we're going to have a class reunion out in Napa later this summer.
I can't imagine you being the social chair.
I know. It would be hard. But,
lots of fireball happening.
Yes. But, in 20 years, I've been very blessed to have a great career and to have done well. In this second half, if you want to say, of my career, I really look forward to trying to give back, not just to other dentists, to help them, inspire them. Because if I didn't have my mentor in both education and in the clinic with Roger, I don't think I wouldn't be sitting here on this couch talking to you about, implant dentistry. So if I can inspire one dentist in the course of my career to do that, that would be, it would make it worthwhile. And I think I'll do better than that. But
absolutely.
It is. And, and here in Phoenix, the ability to do some unbelievable work with our veterans who need it the most. We've done courses outside of the country, in the Dominican and Guadalajara, Mexico, and those are great. And I have nothing against the good people of those countries, but right here in the U.S., we have such a need for our own help. And here in Phoenix is just a great organization at the CAS Clinic. Just the opportunity to do some really great teaching for dentists to learn, and the patients get unbelievable work.
Yeah, it's amazing the work you do, and I love it that it's in my own backyard here in Phoenix. So
well, it's what brought me here this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you teach quite a few courses on behalf of Biohorizons. So tell us about your affiliation with them and why they are your implant of choice.
Sure. might be a lengthy answer because
That's
it's
okay.
it's kind of multi-parted. I've been placing implants for almost 20 years, and I didn't start with Biohorizons, but over time, somewhere about 2006, I'd taken enough courses and I started to learn about implant design and the science behind dental implants. And if we talk about dental implants, they almost all work. I mean, the FDA gives clearance to like 300 and some different companies now to sell in the U.S. So if you have those many choices, how do you choose? And one of it, it could be about price, but sometimes you get what you pay for. And when I found Biohorizons, it was truly based upon the science. They have, from the implant being manufactured here in the U.S., which I thought was, I think it's very important to me and the people that I surround myself with. And it also is based in science. They have features like a reverse buttress thread design, which allows for really superior stabilization of the implant at the time of insertion. And they have a surface treatment, the coronal aspect called laser lock, which is a laser treatment to the implant that allows for actual soft tissue adherence. So what happens is, and it's the only one the FDA allows them to say has a true soft tissue attachment to the dental implant. And it kind of creates a biologic seal around the implant, protecting the bone and the implant contact. And when you have that seal, you have less issues, you have better crestal bone maintenance. And now they have an implant that combines both the thread design, the laser lock technology, and a platform shifting in the implant to really increase soft tissue thickness, soft tissue health and maintenance over the time, which if you keep the soft tissue, you keep the bone. If you keep the bone, you keep the soft tissue. Right. And for me, it's not about what the implant can look like today, but it's like, what is it going to look like 20 years from now when I see my patient? And, I want it to look as good 20 years from now as it did today. So I found my way to Biohorizons through the science and, really wanting to do the best dental implant for my patients. What's happened is a friendship over the years and a quality product. So when I decided that I wanted to start to give back and try my hand at teaching other dentists, Biohorizons stepped up and they said, hey, you're going to need to use an implant system when you teach. I mean, I got to teach them to place dental implants, and I got to choose a system. And obviously, I would prefer to use Biohorizons. So they stepped up and they support our hands-on portions of our course. They have great field reps that come out into the courses and can really help us, with the dentists. They have a huge product knowledge as well, because not every dentist understands the products that the implant companies sell, from both biologics, such as bone grafting, to the prosthetic pieces and the implants themselves. So that was one aspect. And as this partnership and this friendship has grown, when I told them that we wanted to go to the CAS clinic and provide, hands-on training to our dentists and provide veterans with this, the ability to have a true tooth replacement, they never questioned it. They stepped up. They provide all of the implants that we use at this course free of charge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and over the next 4 days that we're going to be here in Phoenix, we may place in excess of 250 implants, which will have a retail value of the final product of maybe 250,000 or more. Could even be up to 500,000 depending upon what we give away. So
wow.
It's just, they never questioned it. They always knew it was the right thing to do, and that's why I use them. I really do.
They're a very generous company.
They do it for the right reasons too. I mean, they've been around a long time, and they're based out of Birmingham, Alabama. It doesn't get much more American than
right.
That. But just good people from the top down. The CEO has been committed to giving back in the profession as well. So it's a good home for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great partnership with them for sure.
It is a good partnership, and you have to have that in the education world, because you can't do it all on your own. Otherwise the tuition to the course would be so high, it would be almost inclusive of being able to do to do a course. So good partners.
Do you find that using their implants, that your patients have less issues when you place Biohorizons as far as coming back to see you and having any issues long term?
I mean, I think so. I've been using them fairly exclusively since about 2006. But when they created the Tapered Plus implant, which is the platform shifting laser locked implant, even though I've only got 5-year follow-ups, from the time it's been out, the soft tissue and the bone maintenance on this implant has been just second to none. Like the previous companies that I placed versus what I've done over the last 5 years, in my hands it's been night and day comparison. And I would be very sad if someone tried to take those from me. It wouldn't go well.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
No. But it is that, and for me, that kind of science, and now that I have these 5-year follow-ups on it, just tells me that I'm using the right thing for my patients.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's all about the patients and their comfortability and getting through their cases and.
Well, it is all about the patient, because they've entrusted their oral health to you, and it's not your right, but it's an honor and a privilege to have someone walk in your office and let them work on you. So for me to be able to provide them with what I think is the very best in care, and Biohorizons is not the cheapest one on the market, but they're not the most expensive either, and they have the opportunity, I have the opportunity to use a premium product at a reasonable cost and have long-term outcomes for my patients. It's a win-win.
So tell us about your implant pathway courses.
Sure.
Which I know that you love and enjoy, and you travel all over the country doing. So tell our audience about those.
I do. I enjoy traveling, and I enjoy meeting all the dentists across the country. The implant pathway was created to provide dentists not only that are interested in getting into implants, but we also offer some advanced courses for those that really want to take their practice to the next level. And gone are kind of the days where people just travel to you because, face it, I live up in Rapid City, South Dakota. So, we're about 20 miles from Mount Rushmore. So if you haven't checked that off your bucket list, you probably should. But,
that's a draw. That's a draw.
It is a draw, but it's a little tougher in the wintertime to do courses up in South Dakota. So we picked 5 cities this year across mostly the western part of the U.S. to teach implant dentistry to anybody that wanted to take it. And we've had just an unbelievable response to it. We just wrapped up our course in Dallas, Texas 3 weeks ago, and the next implant pathway is in the 3rd week in July in Denver, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And then we finish up the year out in San Francisco. So it's been good. And the courses, having taken all these educational courses, what I found is there's so many subjects within implant dentistry that you don't need to travel 3,000 miles to learn, pharmacology, implant rationale. I mean, those are things that just, you put you to sleep or put you onto your phone, while you're taking a course. So we took those 16 hours of education, we wrapped them up into 16 one-hour modules in an online session. So what we call session 1 is 16 hours of continuing education, taken at your own leisure. You can do it on your couch, your free time, your lunch hour, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it gives you the science basis for the courses that are to come. All of our courses are ADA, AGD certified, so you have all the continuing education credits to count towards your state licenses.
How many credits do they get?
So there's 16 for the first hour,
okay.
And then for the first session. Mm-hmm. And then session 2, you have to travel to, because now we've condensed everything that we want to talk about into a 2-day course. It's a Friday, Saturday course, and there's a lot of hands-on. We do a lot of implant placement into models. We do implant placement into pig jaws. We practice suturing. We practice flap reflection and design, and it's a dynamic opportunity. So we learn a little bit, we take a hands-on exercise, we learn some more. It's kind of no opportunity to fall asleep.
Right.
So we have session 2 and we have session 3 is also on the road, and they're generally taken in the same location. But life happens sometimes. We have bad things happen. We have weddings that are good things happen and things, and sometimes you can't make every course. So we designed it that if you could take session 2 in Dallas, but you couldn't make the third session in Dallas, you can take it in Denver. So it's kind of a opportunity it's kind of an opportunity for you to really, work it into your own schedule. Like most people want to take it as quick as they can, but at the end of the day, they can take it at their leisure. Session 3 deals more with the prosthetics, we have hands-on exercises on how to uncover implants, how to restore them, how to communicate with a laboratory, how to deal with fully edentulous cases, and then a little intro into guided surgery. So gives you a good, well-rounded education that I think that at the end of those 3 sessions, our goal is definitely for you to be able to go back to your practice and place a dental implant in a healthy patient in an abundant bone situation, which all of our practices have. They have that group of people in there. You can call it cherry picking, whatever you want, but it's, you should do your first 100 implants into a good success story before you try to
get to the hard cases.
Yeah, get to the hard cases. Yeah. But the coolest part is, which we're about to do this week, is session 4, and that is the live implant training here in Phoenix. So once you've completed the 3, you can sign up for the 4th session. We come to the cast clinic and we place implants into some of the most needy people on the planet, and these are not necessarily, when we call homeless, it's not necessarily the destitute that you would think, like living in the gutter or something. Many of those people have a lot of problems. The people we see have gone through a whole rehabilitation program where they've gone through medical to get themselves healthy. Many of them are living in halfway homes, group housing, maybe even their own apartment as they've gotten there. And the last piece, and truly is the coolest part, is many of them, the last piece is getting that smile to be able to go out and actually get a good job.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. I mean, that's sometimes, they get their life back in order and they have these things, but having that smile is something that they really need. So for the next 4 days, we'll be here in Phoenix, training, providing these patients with whatever they need, whether it's just a single implant or it's a denture that's being held in with dental implants. That's what we're here to do. So
that's amazing work.
It's super fun.
So
I can't tell you how fun it is.
Yeah, I bet.
It really is.
Very comprehensive course. So implant pathway, and the next one again is July 21st to the 22nd in Denver.
I believe so.
Yeah. And for more information, implantpathway.com.
Yeah,
correct?
Just implantpathway.com. You can find the courses on my own website too. It's justinmoodydds.com. You can get links either way from there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So with all of your free time, which we know you don't have a ton of these days.
You got to work it in there once in a while.
What do you, besides spending time with your family, Christina and the boys, what do you like to do in your valuable time off?
I don't have a great golf story. I do love to golf. I'm really not very good at it at all, but it's fun to go out and do. I enjoy hunting. But not big game. We do a lot of pheasant hunting up in South Dakota. So we actually have a continuing education event where we do pheasant hunting and lecture, and it's always sold out every year. People come from all over the country to take the course, and it's good fun. And really, I like best hanging out with my friends and my family. Traveling, you get to meet a lot of great friends, and you can pretty much go wherever you want and rummage up a friend, and that's the best part about my travels.
You have a lot of friends.
I do. I got to come out and hang out with you the other day.
I know. Hanging at the pool. That was awesome.
It's great fun.
So, can you share some of your best practices that you use in your practice to our implant doctor audience, and how they could be more successful possibly in their practice?
I think there's a few of those, and we talked about some of it. My general my private practice is in Rapid City, South Dakota, where my practice is limited to dental implants. I also own 4 other general dentistry offices throughout western Nebraska and South Dakota. So, in the process of mentoring, which is near and dear to my heart, is mentoring the dentist, because had I not had that myself, I wouldn't have been able to get where I'm at today. It really stems around education, getting more knowledge about what you'd like to do and really finding in dentistry what you like to do. Because for me, I found that it was implants. I enjoy the surgical side of it. I enjoy the restorative side of it and providing somebody with a true tooth replacement. So I think best practice for anybody's practice is education. I think it's got to start with education. Mm. And when you start with education, I think you also have to include involving your whole team, because even though I may be the one that ultimately places the dental implant, I couldn't do this without everybody that's on my team, from the front desk to my dental assistants to the lab technicians to the laboratory. Everybody's part of that team, and if they all speak a common language, because there's kind of these 2 buy-ins. And buy-in is when your team says, if I was missing a tooth, I would want a dental implant. Mm-hmm. But the real buy-in happens when your team says, if I was missing a tooth, I would only want you to place the dental implant. Mm-hmm. And that's really powerful, because you go from not only understanding that it's the right treatment, but knowing that your doctor is the right doctor to put that implant in. So involving your team and getting them fired up, like, you can't get where you want to go in implant dentistry without having a great team.
Absolutely.
And then I think the last one, which is, I don't think it's hard to do, and I don't think that it's fundamentally difficult, but as young dentists come out and they're so indebted. I spoke to one the other day that he was $525,000 in student loan debt.
Whoa.
Before he's ever even made any money. And it's hard to do the dentistry you want to do without maybe thinking about, like, I got to sell every patient. I got to do every single case. And sometimes the best treatment is no treatment for our patients, mm-hmm. And it comes back to this: if you do the right thing 100% of the time, you don't have to worry about that stuff, So I think that's kind of a best practice, like, I would never want to do something to one of my patients that, being put in that same situation with the knowledge that I have today, I would only want what I would want done for myself. So as long as you practice by that, you just don't have any problems.
That's good. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I would be remiss if we didn't talk about one of your other favorite pastimes, which is dentist implants and worms. the highly successful podcast that you started 1 year ago?
Yeah, February of 16.
Uh-huh.
So it's been around a little bit over a year. We're 120 episodes in. We release bi-weekly. We release on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Which I've been on 3 of.
You have. You are
so much fun. Love it. You guys do an awesome job.
I have to tell you,
fun.
I keep going back to the younger generation, of dentists, and I don't know at 45 and being out 20 years if I am old or young, or maybe I'm in the middle there, but the way we take our information today is different, and especially to the younger dentists, they love podcasts. And I was like, what is all this podcasting thing? So when I first started looking on iTunes, there was maybe 10 or 11 dental podcasts, and I listened to them, and it was people that really shared their knowledge. And there's a bunch of them out there, but these I gravitated towards these guys. They call themselves the dental hacks. And I was like, the dental hacks? Like, what the hell? Why would I want to listen to some dental hacks? But they gave so freely of their own experiences in their dental office, and people learned from it. And listened to another one. He's based out of here, a guy named Gary Takis, based out of the Scottsdale area, and they just give. And the podcast is free, and the information they gave was real and insightful, and it was factual. And I was like, but they were all a little bit stuffy. So we decided that we were going to have a podcast, and we would talk about our experiences, but we'd throw a little spin in it. So it's called Dentists, Implants, and Worms. And the worms part, it's not, we don't have any worms in the studio or anything, but...
Nothing to do with tequila.
No. The worm is actually a dental school classmate of mine. We called him the bookworm while we were in dental school. And we dropped the book and we just called him the worm. And the guy's funny as hell. Oh my God, he's funny. He's so funny. So he doesn't get on every episode, but he's the worm in the Dentist, Implants, and Worms. And we've had a lot of great guests such as yourself, and we just talk freely, and sometimes it might not be, all content. We do generally do it after work. So one of our mantras is we help the world, navigate the world of dentistry one vodka soda at a time. And we'll have a shot of Fireball here and there, and just kind of make sure people enjoy what they listen to.
There's always some excellent content in there mixed in with the fun, but it is a lot of fun. You guys are characters.
It's a ton of fun, and it's super humbling. We did a continuing education event last year called the Voices of Dentistry in Nashville, which is rumored is coming to Scottsdale in January.
Oh, yay. That's going to be great.
It was the first meeting of dental podcasters got together and did this continuing education event, and I was like, I didn't really know what to think of it. But these people, we had almost 200 people come, and they would come to you and they'd say, "It's such a pleasure to meet you." And I was just like, "Well, pleasure's mine," And they're like, "How's your son Aaron doing?" And I'm like, "What? Like, how do you know my son Aaron?" But you don't realize, like, you talk about real life on the podcast, and people they learn your life, and they ask you questions that you don't really realize that you had talked about.
They get to know you,
and it's so awesome. Like, it's so humbling. Like, it's like the humblingest thing that
that's cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun. So
that's one of your favorite pastimes then.
It is. Like, I don't really consider it work, even though we do it after work, and I built this podcasting studio in my office. It's so not work.
Well, you guys are doing very, very well, and I always enjoy being on there and chatting. It's so much fun.
It is fun. We love having you on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time today and fitting us in on your trip to Phoenix here. We so appreciate it, and whenever you come to town, you're always welcome on DocTalk.
Well, we appreciate that.
And thank you so much also for writing the awesome articles for Implant Practice.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Every issue Justin writes for us, and
hopefully I have enough content in those, more so than my podcast. But
it's always amazing content. Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much, Justin.
Absolutely.
We'll see you soon. So that's going to be a wrap for this edition of Doc Talk. I'd like to thank my friend Dr. Justin Moody with Implant Pathway for joining us today. If you haven't been fortunate enough to attend one of his courses, please don't hesitate to go to implantpathway.com and book his next course in a city near you. I'd also like to thank Biohorizons for sponsoring this special Doc Talk segment, and for more info on them, please go to biohorizons.com. As always, for more implant-related and educational topics, please visit us at implantpracticeus.com or like our Facebook page, Implant Practice US. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care, everyone.